Hey there, friends, it's Don. If you have a phone interview coming up, don't worry, because I've got some fantastic tips I'm going to share with you in this video that will help you become as prepared as you possibly can. You see, most first interviews these days are conducted over the phone or virtually to save time, both your time and the interviewer's. So let me share with you just 11 quick tips that will help you get as prepared as you possibly can for your interview so you make a great first impression and stand out from everyone else, and then get invited to the next round of interviews. Number one, be enthusiastic. Smile while you're talking to them. Although your interviewer can't see you smile, they can hear your smile, making you sound more upbeat and cheerful. Number two, prepare a list of questions, thoughtful questions that demonstrate your genuine interest in the company and the job. And then keep your resume handy, just in case the interviewer wants you to walk through it, and make sure that your resume version is the same one that they're looking at as well. Number three, never interrupt. After the interviewer stops talking, you might want to wait, 1 to 3 seconds before responding. And then number four, inquire about the next steps at the end of the call and ask, how well your qualifications meet the company's needs. This is going to allow you to address any minor concerns that they might have about you, and you'll be able to do it in real time. And then you might want to ask when they plan to schedule the second round of interviews, and then you might want to follow up with them before those are scheduled. And number five, express gratitude. Send a follow-up email that thanks the interviewer and briefly reminds them of how your skills and your achievements can benefit the company. Now, you want to know what they're looking to do in this role, and that way your thank you letter can reference your skills as they're related to whatever they're trying to achieve. And those should be some of your questions that you have for them, like what are some of the biggest challenges facing anyone in this role, and stuff like that, to get a better feel for what they're looking for. Okay, let's move on here to number six. Take a cough drop right before the call. You see, if you're the type of person where your throat kind of dries out, and it might on a job interview, just naturally, a medicated cough drop, especially one with menthol, will benefit you. And it will kind of just numb your throat just a little bit and kind of just take any of those little scratchy ticks away. It's really helpful. Number seven, avoid saying or aw or instead try pausing. And this is more of a signal of intelligence. You see, those ums and ahs that we put in our speech, those are actually filler words that our brain is using. So when we're talking about something, we're explaining something, and while we're collecting our thoughts to continue what we're saying, but we're not ready yet, that's when we put in the ums and the ahs and the knows to kind of maintain the interviewer's attention, or not just an interviewer, but anybody that we're talking to. It's just to hold their attention until we collect our thoughts so we can continue on. But they don't really sound good, so try to avoid those. Number eight, take notes. Make sure that you have some paper and a pen, and take some notes while you're there, and write down any topics and questions that the interviewer brings up, and that way you can address those points, later in the interview, or maybe in your thank you note or something like that. But you want to take those notes so that you're in tune with everything that's going on during the process. All right. Number nine, proceed as if you want the job. And what I mean by that is, after the interview, and maybe you're not interested, I don't know. But even if you're not sure, move forward just to hear them out. Just tell them, don't lie to them. If they ask you flat out, are you interested, you might want to say, no, I'm really not. But if you're on the fence about that, just hear them out. And that way, this will allow you to maybe go a little bit farther in the process, and you'll gain a little bit more experience in interviewing. And maybe because you're not interested in working for them, you won't feel as nervous, while you're continuing down the path with them. It'll just kind of help you with your own skill set. And then who knows, maybe at the end you'll be like, hey, this job isn't all that bad. I'm actually interested in it. So hear them out and just move forward, and this will just help you with your whole interview experience. All right, number 10, make sure that you have a clean background. Now, this is just for virtual interviews, not for a phone interview. Do the phone interview in your garage if you want. But if you're having a virtual interview and they have cameras and the cameras are on, make sure your room background is neat and tidy. You might even want to test out any of those automatic backgrounds with a friend, because I know that Skype will allow you to simulate a background, but I've seen people use those before, and it can be really weird because it's kind of doing like a real live green screen for you. But I've seen those before where people are moving their hands around and the camera can't keep up with that to do the green screen effect. And so it looks like they're just a body there and they don't have any arms. It's kind of weird. So if you're going to use one of those automatic backgrounds, check it out ahead of time. Make sure it works. And then lastly, be ready for some of those tricky interview questions. So some of the common ones that you're likely to get on a first interview or a phone interview, they might say, hey, what are you looking for in a job? Or what are you looking for in a new job that you don't have in your current one? Now, most of the time, these questions hit people, like a ton of bricks. They're like, I don't know. I just want to get out of my current job. I hate my boss, whatever. I don't know. Don't say that. But just be prepared for the position, for the question. And so if they're asking you, what are you looking for in a new job that you don't have in your current one, you might want to, think about that ahead of time and think about, what do you want? And I mean, maybe it's just growth potential, growth opportunity. Maybe it's more responsibility. I don't know what it is for you, but those are things that you want to be prepared of so that your interview has some continuity. Because usually those are one of the first questions that they ask you. And if you get that one wrong right off the bat, that might make for a short phone interview, which means you might not go very far in the process. Now, inside the complete interview answer guide, this book right here, you will learn how to answer, all kinds of interview questions for phone interviews, whether they're experience related, technical, behavioral, or just those general HR questions. The guide also has a list of questions that you might want to ask your interviewer, and it has a special section dedicated just to phone interview preparation, more than I can cover in this video. And also in the guide, when you get this guide, your investment in it is just going to pay off immensely when you land your dream job. I mean, this guy is like, $50, and you can use it to turn your next phone interview into a job offer, because that's the whole point of the phone interview, is to go to the next step. So if you don't impress them enough on that phone interview, you're not going to advance to the next round. That's just a fact. And you're somewhat at a disadvantage because you're not in there, you're not in their room or their office physically interviewing them, where, you're able to display a stronger interest. Your body language can show that you're interested in the job, your tone, your voice, and everything like that, your expressions on your face. But when you're doing a phone interview, they can't see any of those expressions. They can't see how excited you are. They can't see your posture. They can't see any of that. So it's kind of like a blind interview. So you really need to be well prepared for some of those questions that they're going to ask you. And this guide is going to do that very well for you. And you can get this from jobinterviewtools.com. And it's just going to help you go a lot farther in the process and turn that phone interview into a second interview, which is going to turn it into a job offer. All right, my friend, that's all I have for you in this short video. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, hey, give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. And hey, subscribe. That way you'll get notified every time I release a new video, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.